I'd like to call the meeting to order. I am here, I'm the chairman for tonight, and I'm joined by Bill McCarthy, Peter Jablon, Bruce Taub, and we're here to read over the findings of fact for Cape Cod Village, Inc. Special permit is set forth in MGL Chapter 40A, Section 9, under Orleans Zoning Bylaw, Section 164-40B, 164-13, 164-44, and 164-38, to develop congregate housing for adults with autism consisting of 2 8-unit buildings with a common building. Property is located at 19 Childs Homestead Road, Orleans, map 25, parcel 74. The hearing was duly advertised and scheduled. The findings of fact were postponed to this meeting, so I'd like to read the findings of fact.
The case number, just so it's...
Excuse me?
The case number.
Oh,
Just since we're on TV. Isn't it? Did you save this map from the last one?
do you have the case number?
2026.
This is still what I
It's right on top of the.
Oh, case number 2026. Okay, the findings of fact. 1, notice of a hearing in this case was given in the manner and with the time required by law. 2, subject property known as 19 Childs Homestead Road is shown on Orleans map 25 as parcel 74 and is in the Village Center VC zoning district. 3, the property is owned by Cape Cod Village, Inc., by deed recorded at the Barnstable County Registry of Deeds. 4, the property is presently undeveloped with the exception of some existing pavement. 5, the proposed use of the property is as congregate housing for adults with autism. The application proposes 2 8-unit buildings with a common building. 6, residential housing for adults with autism is a service not now available on the Outer Cape. 7, these are 16 affordable units and contribute to that need in the community. 8, the proposed use will not be detrimental to the established and future character of the neighborhood and will be in harmony with the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. 9, the proposed construction will not be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood. This residential development is accessed through a residential neighborhood. 10, at nearly 4 acres, the site is adequate in terms of size and suitable for the proposed use. The property is readily accessible but private, buffered by wetlands to the west and the Cape Cod Rail Trail to the south. Residents will be within walking distance of downtown Orleans. The proposed use will have negligible impact on traffic flow or safety. It is not anticipated that residents will drive, although 24-hour staffing, visiting family, and deliveries will add to area traffic. Concerns can be somewhat mitigated by routing outbound traffic left onto Child Homestead Road. 12, the proposed use will have negligible impact on the visual character of the neighborhood. No scenic views or vistas are impeded. Structures are single-story and constructed with commonly seen exterior features. 13, the proposed use is isolated from and will have no impact on the methods of sewage disposal, source of water, drainage, or water resources. The project will still meet Title V requirements. Drainage will be confined to the site. 14, utilities and public services will be adequate for the proposed use. All utilities serve the site, including town water, and it is accessible for all public and emergency services. 15, noise and litter will not be increased after construction is complete. 16, there will be no adverse impact on ground quality, recharge volume, and the water quality of coastal and fresh surface water bodies. The project has received conservation approval. 17, the benefits of the proposed use to the town or vicinity will outweigh any adverse effects after consideration of the location, activity mix, site design, and facility design. 18, the proposed use and location is not more sensitive to environmental stress from erosion, siltation, groundwater or surface water contaminants, or habitat disturbance that are most similarly zoned locations. Should that be our most? Okay, 19, the proposed activity will contribute to the diversity of services available in the town. 20, the proposed activity will provide service to the town's year-round residents. 21, the proposed use will add relatively little to summer traffic congestion in relation to its size considering the location. 22, the proposed use poses no environmental hazard because of use or storage of explosive, flammable, toxic, or radioactive materials. 23, the proposed use will not result in air pollution or excessive noise. 24, topographical change is minimized. 25, unnecessary removal of existing trees or other important natural features is avoided. 26, pedestrian movement within the site and to other places is well provided for. 27, vehicular movement within the site is safe and convenient and arranged so as to not disturb abutting properties. 28, the scenic views from public ways and other developed properties are considerately treated in the design of the buildings. 29, primary exterior materials match the appearance of materials commonly found on existing buildings within the town. 30, a special permit to run with the land shall be granted. 31, there was no opposition to the application. Motion was seconded by, oh, do I need a motion on this?
You just made the motion.
Okay.
You need a second.
Second.
Oh, just second.
Is there going to be a discussion?
Okay.
I just wanted to note with regard to paragraph 5 and paragraph 6. The findings said that there are 2 buildings with a total of 16 units, 8 units in each. And that, remember that I said there are only 4 units, 2 units in each building. But for affordable housing purposes, we get counted for every bedroom. So there's 16 units for affordable housing. If you were to make the finding that there are 16 units, 8, it would run afoul of the bylaw because the bylaw says that you got to be, I think it's 1,500 feet away from, if you have more than 3 congregate houses. I don't have the zoning bylaw, I can't tell you, but I know that I almost lost my lunch when I was looking through that and saw in my application that I talked about 16 units. So.
Okay, so you're talking on the findings of fact number 5?
Yes, there are only 4 units, 2 in each building.
It says 2 8-unit buildings?
There are two 2-unit buildings. 4 units in all.
I heard the same thing as a concern, and I think that what we want to somehow specify is that there are 16 bedrooms. That's what I think is the core of this.
We say that in number 7.
Did you read 7 to me again?
There are
Us again?
16 affordable units and contribute to that need in the community.
No, but that's the point, is that the units, there aren't 16 units. This unit is unspecified is what it means. There are, whether it's 2 or 4 units, there are X units that comprise 16 bedrooms. And I think we should come to an agreement as to how many units there are and then specify the bedrooms in the finding.
So there are 2 2-unit buildings, right?
Yes.
Got it.
And the
We change
unit
8
is
to 2.
defined as having 1 common space, 1 kitchen. I mean, I think that's what defines the
Yes.
unit, is that there's a common space and a kitchen. And then that unit, each of these units have 4 bedrooms. And I, you know, once we're clear on it, I think the findings should reflect that and we can march happily along.
There's no necessity in the decision itself to state that there are 16 affordable units. That's going to automatically happen when the people do the calculations. So
So do I need to eliminate that statement?
Could you do us a favor and read back findings 5 and 6 as they currently read?
Okay, 5, the proposed use of the property is as congregate housing for adults with autism. The applicant proposes 2 8-unit buildings with a common building. And I was suggested to make that 2 2-unit buildings. Is that correct?
For a total of 4 units.
Yes.
Do I need to add that?
If you want.
Well, you know, it's belt and
Why
suspenders
not?
and,
Right.
Yeah.
Two
It's at the end
unit
of the sentence.
buildings for a total of 4 units is fine.
For a total of 4 units. 4 units.
And then you can sign it.
And then number 7, there are 16 affordable units and contribute to that need in the community.
Yeah, that has to be
You just strike it
stricken or
completely?
changed.
Did you want 6 read also, Bruce?
Yeah, I did. Was that what 7?
6 says residential
That was
housing for
7.
adults with autism is a service not now available on the Outer
That's
Cape.
fine, that's fine.
Okay.
So it's 7
So
that is the
just-
problem.
Delete,
Well, just, let's hear it again.
these are 16 affordable units and contribute to that need in the community.
Personally, I'd strike it.
Just strike it completely?
But you did a good job on that, Madam Chairwoman.
You mean Sandy did a good job.
Good job, Sandy.
Nice work, Sandy.
Okay, anything else?
Is that it? Is there anything else is that complete?
Oh, I had one other thing,
Okay,
I'm
Bruce.
sorry.
Yeah, me too.
In number 11 or 12, and this is hyper technical, there was reference to trying to direct traffic left, and there had been substantial discussion about that in the meeting. And I think the finding was that there would be a recommendation that there would be the placement of a sign that would direct traffic left. And so I would incorporate something about that wording into the finding.
So in number 11, just add
Because
it.
we didn't, the discussion
site plan was
surrounded
gonna
the issue
review.
of who had the powers to do that, and we agreed that we did not have the powers, that it was a matter that would be referred to the building owners or the police department, et cetera. And so if our finding says direct, I just felt a little skitsy about that, as opposed to if our finding said by the placement of a sign that would. So I'm looking to add the word by the placement of a sign or signage.
May I add something to that?
Okay.
I think, based on a citizen present at the original hearing, I propose that we talk to our talented and knowledgeable police department to help us, to guide us, or to guide the developer or builder with the traffic pattern. And if we could just,
Would that be the traffic study? Does that include the police department?
well, I don't know if
It does.
if it would be a study, but somebody would, who knows what they're doing, would just stop up there and say, this is our suggestion. In other words, get a professional involved, since there was somebody here expressing concern, a citizen. And I believe that that was agreed to. Mr. Landreth? Yeah?
Excuse me, my recollection was that, and I'm glad we have the plan, had the planner here. My understanding was that Brad Melo got up and said, as a matter of fact, we have to go to the traffic study committee in order to finalize this. And
Okay.
so in the automatic course of events, I'd like to verify that with George.
Okay.
But then, so I thought that was more of a, at least I came away from the meeting with the understanding there was more of a suggestion that in good faith would be followed. I didn't understand that there would be a condition with regard to having a sign that it automatically directed traffic to the left. And I would prefer to avoid that, because that might be at odds with what the recommendation of the police chief would be. I think my understanding, I'm not trying to advocate for anything particular, I'm just trying to suss out the distinction so it's clear. If it's going to be a condition, fine. it should be clear if it's gonna be a condition. But I didn't understand that the earlier vote took into account that it would be a condition. That's all.
And, may I comment on that?
Okay?
I tend to agree with that based on my memory, and in 5 words or less, leave it to the police. If they say go left, go left. You know what I mean? Because they know what they're doing. We pay them lots to know
Who's from the
that.
traffic study committee?
Police chief, fire chief, DPW director, and myself.
Okay, so, in
But
good
the other thing
faith,
is this automatically, as part of its future review, going to go in front of the traffic study committee, George?
To the extent that it needed it, it should have already been.
Okay. Well, I think that what we're promising to do is to take it to the traffic study committee.
Okay.
And they can act on it just based upon an informal, and if they say, do this, then we'll do it. I mean, I think that's what our intent was to do, was
Yep.
to, you know, just conform with whatever the town's best request was with regard to that. If that includes a left-hand turn, fine.
and that was what my hope was.
Okay, so as I understand, George, it's already been before traffic study, and nothing was, there was no concern about coming out to landscape it for
Since
child
the
welfare?
citizen brought
Because
this
never
up.
went to the traffic study committee.
So
You don't?
I don't think, no, it didn't need to by, it wasn't required to be sent there. I don't think, it went to the site plan review, and you have DPW director and fire department there for that. You don't have the police department.
Okay.
Maybe you can craft some general requirement that, you know, subject to the police
Subject to
chief's
site plan.
requirements. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
So,
Just
Madam
that.
Chairperson, could you read it back to us as it currently stands?
Okay, the proposed use will have, negligible impact on traffic flow or safety. It is not anticipated that residents will drive, although 24-hour staffing, visiting family, and deliveries will be added to area traffic. Concerns can be somewhat mitigated by routing outbound traffic left onto Childs Homestead Road. Just make it subject to police approval.
Yes,
Is that good enough?
yes. My
I'm fine with
opinion.
that.
Yeah.
I'd say police department, but otherwise fine.
Subject to police review.
Police department review.
Okay, anything else? Okay, I need a motion. A second?
Second.
I move that these findings be adopted as amended this evening at meeting.
Thank you, Bruce.
You're welcome.
I second it.
What are the magic words, Beth?
All those in,
Hmm?
all those in favor?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
All those opposed? Okay. That it?
Well, you've incorporated that a special permit should be in there. I mean, you could technically vote the special permit based upon the findings that you just made, so that we're clear on that. I understood you incorporated, you know, that a special permit should be granted. Again, that's hyper-technical, I'll use Bruce's term, but I would prefer that.
Separate second.
What, a
No,
second
Separate
vote?
vote.
That's
Yeah,
a
second
separate
motion
vote.
is
These are
based
Michael
upon the
Bush.
findings just adopted, you know.
Okay, based on the findings as adopted?
We
Move to approve.
move
Motion.
to approve.
Move to approve the revised findings of fact?
No.
The special
motion to
permit.
Approve the issuance of a special permit. Issuance, right word?
Yeah,
Issuance of a special
Based
permit.
upon the findings of fact.
Based upon the findings of fact, we issue a special permit. All those-
Seconded.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Nice work, Mr. Landry.
Thank you. Okay, and then next on the agenda is the planning board.
Oh, the entertainment portion of the meeting.
Sandy,
No decisions to be made.
Yeah. George?
You need to note a second for that. You didn't hear me second that last one, but you can add that if you need to.
All set.
Okay.
And George Meservia is here to discuss items for change on the zoning.
Yeah, I saw this on your agenda. Thank you for forwarding me a copy, and I just wanted to hear your perspective on I think you all have recently received or previously received a copy of the zoning bylaw proposal that was admittedly crafted in haste at the encouragement of several selectmen. The planning board has been dealing with this proposed overlay district proposed by Todd Thayer for 13.818 acres. He owns downtown. He proposed an overlay district that would grant him 15 units of per acre for residential dwellings by right. Stops only the architectural review committee and the site plan review.
Could you just repeat that again?
Yeah, it's a whole cloth change from the way we do business. Apartments, as you know, are allowed by special permit,
Right.
6 per acre, unless you're doing a mixed-use project that you can get up to 12 if you, with certain provisions. I think you guys know the zoning bylaws as well as anyone else in town. What was proposed was to go to 15 units per acre by right, with only review by ARC and the site plan review,
What's ARC?
architectural review committee. They've got their own guidelines, right, built into zoning section 33.1, I think. So the planning board wrestled with this because it's such an enormous change in granting. It's a real giveaway to allow any developer in that district to put in whatever he wants with very little review. It's not the way Orleans, as you all know, has done business.
Yeah.
So the board wrestled with it, I think, for 2 or 3 meetings and just was not ready to pull the trigger. Well, recently the three members of the Board of Selectmen came in, all individually, unannounced. One of whom really wanted the board to take some action for this town meeting so that the project proposed by Todd Thayer could be considered under the traditional bylaw. So with that, the planning board, to great credit to Steve to really work fast and try to come up with something that worked. This was proposed that does 3 or 4 things. Retains a special permit grant for an apartment and increases the density significantly just for the village center district, and requires findings of fact on 6 specific special permit criteria related to apartments. As you know, apartment development currently has 2 little criteria, and I think you made them in your findings today, that there is a legitimate housing need and this will not interrupt business in the neighborhoods. We've added 4 to that the special permit granting authority would have to make certain findings of fact in order to grant a special permit. I think the reason that I'm here and Steve are here is I sent this bylaw out as soon as the board chose to hold a public hearing, sent it to Mr. Marnick and said, please circulate this to you all, because I wanted you to understand what is being proposed, admittedly in some haste, but let's see if we can get it fully considered. The change here is that the planning board would become the special permit granting authority for apartment development. Rationale is, here's the rationale. You can like it or not like it. The rationale is the planning board has been working on downtown development plans, goals, studies. They are the town board most familiar with the future of the downtown area, with the goals of the comprehensive plan, with the vision statement that was approved back in 2009, and with the various market studies and streetscape plans to make the town both visually and functionally better for the community. I think the planning board, and we will find out if the town meeting is sold on the fact that housing density more housing density is needed to incentivize the kind of development that the town says that it wants in its town goals. So the density issue, I'm not sure you guys really care so much about the density issue as how is this administered. So the proposal here is the planning board would become the special permit granting authority. They don't have that authority for anything right now. In other towns, it's probably 100 towns in the Commonwealth in which they, planning board serves that role for various types of development, often specific kinds of development, elderly housing or for major site plans, things like that. So I would love to hear your thoughts on the pros and cons of having a different board being the special permit granting authority and how that would work. You know, my initial thought is the planning board is usually the executive, let's call it the executive branch, develops the laws, you know, the legislative branch, excuse me. I don't know who the executive branch is, selectmen, I guess. And the Board of Appeals is generally the first judicial stop, you know, your formal hearing. The planning board has proposed that they would take on that role, so I'll stop talking. I'd love to hear what you think about that.
Bruce?
So I found this very stimulating, actually. I really did find it to be fun to contemplate, and just in the nature of a dialogue amongst us. I see that there are kind of three parts to this. One, I dare say, is political. It has to do with visions for the future of the town, and that needn't and oughtn't concern us. The second is bylaw regulation relative to specifics in the proposal. How many units, what sort of density, parking. And the third is who makes the decision relative to the issuance of the special permit. At least that's the way I viewed it initially. And as I said, relative to, call it political, call it social, economic development, I don't think that's in our purview, nor is it before us. I just think it's useful to be mindful of it because it's an important aspect to the future of the town. Whatever positions people take on it, it's the best that we understand it in that context and be explicit about it. That's my feeling. So two are the bylaw regs, and the bylaw regs, it's a town meeting decision. They may look to us for what our recommendation might be about that as individual members of the board or as a board, but I'm thinking that there's nothing in the specifics about the regs that I find objectionable. Just me speaking as a member of the board now, there's nothing about that I find objectionable. The main point of concern is this issue of who makes the decision. And apropos of that, what I want to say is I don't feel a vested interest. I don't feel like I have a horse in the race. I don't feel like I want to hold on to this for ownership reasons. I want to maintain something that is above board, transparent, clear, fair, consistent, blah, 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 blah. And in that, I do have these reservations about the planning board. You know, planning boards, as I understand it, are actually statutorily mandated. Zoning boards of appeal are not statutorily mandated. It's a uniqueness of the town of Orleans that we have, and not unique to Orleans, that we have both a planning board and a zoning board. And it appears to me at first blush that once, let us assume that these bylaw amendments are passed, the special permit is actually, again, I could be wrong about this, something that says we want to go above and beyond this bylaw that's already been amended, liberalized, enhanced, however you want to think of it. We want to go beyond that. And now we want to authorize a special permit to issue. And my initial thought about that is that when an applicant would come before the Zoning Board of Appeals seeking a special permit, were the planning board to also attend such a meeting and say, we feel strongly that this ought to be approved for the following reasons, that would be appropriate use of planning board members' time, but I'm a little skitchy